Okay, so so basically in the last lecture we have stopped by this slide. I asked you to check this link and try to execute some actions. I don't know if you have already been through these actions. So basically what we are going to see, so in this lecture, is to see some basic actions of Elasticsearch. Okay. So I asked you to also set up Elasticsearch. So basically, it's not a real setup. So you need just to download and put the file in your computer. So I have made this file, if you remember. Asked you to follow the steps. So basically, if I go to the Elastic here server, so you can. So for the first run, you will see, if you remember the password, you will see the token and so on. That's only for the first run. So I asked you here to remember them. Afterwards, for the second run, you won't be seeing the password. So basically what you have to do is to either remember them from the first run or simply trying to execute an action. Okay, so I have updated the document. I have added some action in order to be able to retrieve the password. Okay, so what you need to do is simply you run your Elastic server. So you wait a little bit. Okay, so you need to run your Elastic first. Second step, you don't need to run Kibana. So the second step is to open the CMD. Okay, so just open the CMD and go to Elasticsearch file and run this. Run this code. Okay, so once you run it, you will be getting the new password. So the same thing for Kibana. If you have forgotten the Kibana token, so what you need to do is simply open a new CMD and go to Elasticsearch and not Kibana file. Okay, and run this this code. So let me know if you still have issues regarding that, so we can see it in future sessions. So basically, also for Kibana, if you run it for the first time, you will be seeing a link. If you don't, if you run it for the second time, you won't be seeing any link. Okay. So basically, you need to also remember the link. Okay. So you need to remember the local host. So this is the local host, meaning it is this is a simple localhost. So the simple localhost for any computer, and so on and so on. And this is basically the API address. Okay, so this is the API address. So you need to remember both those data in order to be able to execute it. Okay. Once it's done, I asked you to go to DevTools, click on the DevTools, and you will be seeing this this dashboard. Okay. So what we will be trying to do, we will be trying to execute some Elasticsearch actions. So last time I told you, so in the last course lecture, if you have forgotten, I remind you to try to go through it again. So we have done it at the university. So we have reached it here. We talked about many concepts of Elasticsearch and so on and so on. So one of the concepts that we have been talking about is the indexes. Okay, so basically, what is an index is when you try to zoom. So when you try to add any kind of data sets, these data sets has to be put inside an index. Okay, so we can create any index by just specifying the put verb. Okay, so we will be using the put, post, delete, get, and so on, and by specifying the index name. Okay, so by just selecting this request and trying to execute it, so we will be getting knowledge that the actions has been well executed. I can also delete it by by simply specifying or using the verb deletes. So I can delete the actions, but you need to select the actions at each time. So, and now it says that has been successfully deleted. Okay. So what other actions can be done? So we can do a number of actions. For example, we can create an index, and we can specify the number of shards and the number of replicates. Okay. So if you don't remember, we have seen these two concepts in the previous lecture. So we said shards are the number of so are simply some kind of storage, and replicates are some kind of data that has been replicated. Okay, so yeah. So for example, I'm trying to ask the Elastic Cloud and tell him that for this specific index or any data that will be stored in this index, we need two shards. Okay, meaning that we need two storage, separated storage, and for each data we need two replicates. Okay, so once the action is executed, so we can see a new acknowledgement about what we are trying to do. This is very rare, to be honest. So we don't manually specify the number of shards or the number of replicates, but yeah, it may be useful in the future. Okay. So creating a document in Elasticsearch is basically very simple. So you can add the index. We need to specify the doc type that we have mentioned also earlier in the lecture. So basically, all documents are will be doc, meaning that we are dealing with data sets. Okay, and we can specify the name. For example, this is like a product. For example, let's say coffee, and we can specify the price if you are trying to add a new product in our database. Let's say okay 102 120, and we can specify the number of items that we have in our stock. Okay, so you need to note here that basically post to say save this document. Products is our index. Doc is we are trying to tell Elasticsearch we are dealing with documents. Okay, so here we can specify anything we like. Okay, so I added name, I added price, I added in stock, but you can specify any kind of attributes. And here are the values. You know that in this is like we said that earlier that this is a JSON formats. Okay, so in JSON formats we need to respect that formats. So any characters need to be written like that. Any numbers need to be written like that, and so on. So just there is little small mistake here, and yeah, we can run our document. So once the document has been created, so each document has a specific ID. And as you can note here, so we haven't specified the ID, so Elasticsearch has created for us an ID. So here is our ID. It's a bit complex, but that's the ID created by Elasticsearch. So what you can see also is the index that we have specified, the version. So that's the first version. We will be talking later in this lecture what does it mean really? What is the version? So yeah, it has been created, and it says that we have two shards. Okay, and yeah, so that's the data that we trying to talk. We will be talking also later about what is the sequential because it's very important in Elasticsearch. So basically, I can create a document by specifying its ID. Okay, so if you want to specify the ID, you can simply add the ID here. So that's the ID. It will be read automatically by the ID. So you can change. So let's say it's coffee machine now, and let's give it a more expensive price and different quantity. Okay, if I just click on execute, so I will be seeing this, and for this time you can clearly see that the ID has been attributed by me. So just imagine that actually just to remind you, basically in real application, if you have an elastic search, and I have my let's say my application. So my application. So you need to note that that my application is, for example, a mobile application, and I want to store my data in Elasticsearch. So basically, all calls and requests will be done via APIs. Okay, so via API. And what we are actually doing here, we are trying simply to use Kibana for doing this call and this request. Okay, so in real time, so we're trying to use Kibana API. Okay, so in real time we use API. So the same. So what I mean by API? API simply we need to specify the requests. Okay, and we need to specify the data for our requests. We'll be reaching that in later in future lectures and show you how you can do that. Okay, so in order to see the products that we basically have created, we can simply specify the doc and use the get verb and specify the ID number. Okay, so it's here you can see the products that I have just created, and you can see that it's a coffee machine and so on and so on. So if I run it again, yeah, you can see the same data and there is no exactly no difference. Okay, so we have covered so far the add things, the get things, delete index, and so on. So for example, if I want to update a value, let's imagine that I want, for example, to update the in-stock value. Let's say that I have already sold two pieces and I want to update the value. So let's keep that for later because we needed to see the document after the modification. So we can use here post. Okay, so always the same semantic writing here. And as you can see here, I'm not using documents, but I'm using update. Okay, so I'm just using update here to tell Elasticsearch that I'm trying to update my documents. Okay, so here I need to specify doc. That's not my specification, but that's Elasticsearch specification. For any modification, I need to do doc. Okay, and here I can specify which attributes has to be modified. So in my case, I have to modify the stock attributes, and I can yeah I can simply sorry so I can simply write the new number. So I said 5, and I can simply run this commands, and you can see that the product has been updated. So to see if the product has been updated, I need to run this again. Yeah, and you can see that the number has changed into 5. Okay, so basically, if I want to go through this abstraction. So what we have done so far, so specifying the index that we know, and here there is a change. Okay, so instead of saying doc, so now we are saying update because we're trying to update document. So what's type of this document? So this document is doc type. Okay, that's why we need to specify this. However, this is our attribute that we have specified earlier at the beginning of the creation of documents. Okay, and now I can specify the item number or how many items I still have in my stock. Okay, and I need to execute that instruction just to see the updates and so on. So what's the difference here? So there is two differences. So there's three basically. So the first one is we have so the in-stock value has been updated, and the version also has been updated, and the sequential number has been updated. So this is we know why, because we have done it in purpose, we have done it deliberately, we have updated this attributes, and why we don't, why we still have the version and sequential number. So basically, I will tell you later. Okay, so I'll tell you later what we do with this kind of two attributes. But just remember that once we update any item, we basically can see the changes in other values such as versions and sequential number. So one of the good thing about Elasticsearch, so it has a feature that is called sorry, so it has a feature that is called So basically, scripted updates. Okay. So what is scripted updates? So scripted updates is, for example, when you are going to make an update, but this update is basic on on a few kind of other instructions. For example, you will be updating you will be updating the stock by just taking the previous value and trying to decrease it by one or trying to add it by one. So imagine that you don't know the real stock number. Okay. So in our cases, because we have pretty simple case, we know the number of stock. It was 7 and we tried to make it 5 and so on. But imagine that you don't know the number. So you need to do like a scripted update. So let's go through through an example. So there will be no changes here. So the changes will be here. So this stock things will be called script. Okay, why it's called script? Because we are trying to execute a new script. Okay, so what is happening here? So basically, we need another attribute that we call source, and we need to call the ctx, and we need to call IB explaining that after we execute the actions. Okay, so basically in and yeah, so this is our value minus minus. Okay, so what is happening here? So let's execute this first. Yeah, and trying to execute this. So I try to decrease one item from the stock. So we had 5. We should see the number 4 now in the stock number. Yeah. So here's the number 4. So if I execute this again, and if you execute this again, we should be C3. Okay. So what is happening here, basically, I told Elasticsearch. So I told Elasticsearch to make an update on the index updates on the item number ID 100 and try to run a script. So this time we're not specifying a document attributes, we are specifying a script. So I need the source attribute to specify my script. So basically what I'm doing, I'm telling that from the CTX, from my Elasticsearch datasets, or from all the value that I have, try to get the source and in stock attribute. So this is this value that we have specified earlier when we have created the item. So basically, if you want to get an attributes, you need to execute ctx source. Okay, so ctx source will let you get all the attributes that you have specified for each document. Okay, so and we have the minus minus here, and you can, yeah, you can imagine. So we can do also plus plus, and we can do many other things. We can do, for example, +5 and so on and so on and so on instead of minus minus, and it could be executed as it should. Yeah. So basically, if I want, for example, to I can do a different scripted updates by, for example, specifying parameters. For example, I can let's say I need to decrease the value based on specified attributes. So what I have to do is do like this and try to do params and try to do quantity. Okay, and I need to specify yeah, it's here. I need to specify here a new attributes called param, and yeah, I have chosen one with S. That's true. So, and we can specify the new attributes called quantity, and you can specify for. So what is going to happen here? So I have specified, I have basically specified the, so you usually know that now. So basically this is my stock. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to decrease 4 items. But this time, as you can see, I tried to create a new JSON element that is called params. And in this kind of JSON elements, I tried to create an attribute. I gave this attribute a value, and I'm trying to use that value here. So, okay. So if I execute this, yeah, I should see, yeah, I should see 0 in my stock. Okay. So yeah, basically if I do plus here and execute it again, yeah, I should see 4. Okay, so this is a way of how to use a scripted. So just remember these words. So scripted updates. So you can do scripted updates, and you can specify the number of quantities in our cases that you want to do. Okay. Yeah. Also, what we can do, for example, in the scripted update. So imagine, for example, um, imagine if you want, for example, to decrease the value based on a condition, okay, based on if conditions. And also is that it's possible, okay? So imagine that you have an if condition and you're trying to, if the product, of course, if we have, for example, 0 in stock, so we don't need to do -1 or decrease the number of, and so on and so on. So what you need to do, so I think I need to delete all of that. Yeah, I need to use only the script. So here I need to write the source. I need to do this. I'll be explaining that later on, and I will write this. So in Elasticsearch, if you want to write a little bit complicated script and if and so on and so on, so you need to be specifying these characters. Okay, so here I can use if straightly, and you know the cdx dot source dot in search stock bigger than 0. So what I do basically, you know that Kibana has recognized this kind of script, so you're trying to do some uh, mapping of the text. Okay, so basically I use the same values and they're trying to decrease it. Okay, so what is happening here? So you may have already guessed. So try to decrease the product as far as the stock is not 0. Okay, if the stock is bigger than 0, so try to decrease decrease the product. So if I execute this, yeah, it has been successful. If I see the number again, it's 3. If I execute it again, it should be 2 now. If I execute it again, it should be 1 now. And if I execute it again, it should be 0. Okay, yeah. But if I execute it now again, okay, so the task, yeah, so it will stay 0. Okay, so even if I execute it many times, so no updates will be made because simply I have specified this condition. Okay, so I specified this condition telling Elasticsearch don't edit the value if the value is under is not bigger than 0. Okay, so this is one of the way that you can use scripted updates. Okay, yeah. So basically, there are other things that you can do in Elasticsearch. So there are any other features of Elasticsearch called upserts. Okay. So what is the upserts? So upserts basically is trying to tell Elasticsearch if a document, so try to update a document. So we are asking for an update, but if the document doesn't exist, so you can delete that document. Okay. So yeah, sorry, you can create that document. So it's like trying to ask for an update. However, if the document doesn't exist already, so simply create that document. Because if you're trying, if you execute the basic operation of an update on a non-existing document without using the upserts concepts, you will get an error. Okay, so this is one of the way that you can use it. So if I delete all these codes, it's for example, I need to update the documents, updates. Let's say we haven't created the document, I guess, number 101. Let's check. Yeah, we don't have that document. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to tell him update the stock of these documents. Okay, so and plus plus. Yeah, I'm trying to tell him update, but in case that the document doesn't exist, I will add the new attributes called upserts features that I'm talking about. And I'm telling him to So I'm telling him basically to create the document. So let's say that we have yeah, let's say that we have vendor, okay, and we have price. Let's say that the price is 400. Let's say that in stock is 10. Okay, so if I try to run, yeah, let me check. There is a problem somewhere. Yeah, so basically we have scripts, okay, and we have source. Everything is good here. So scripts has to be end here. It's okay. And we have upserts. So I think, yeah, think without us. Yeah, think without us. Yeah. Okay, good. So basically, what happened here is the result, it has been created and not updated. So if you check now the document, so we see that the document has been created and not updated. Okay, so if you run it again, so you can see that the result that the document has been updated, because simply in the second time he has already found the document, and once the document has been found, so we don't need we don't need to create it. Okay, so we simply need to update it. So if I run this, we should see 11. Okay, so that's 11 because so yeah, so just to conclude about this one, so this is simply is used when you're not sure about if a document exists or not, and you're trying to make an update. So the first operation is to create a document, but Elasticsearch won't execute the update because is so between the first and second it's or, okay, so it's not end. So once of these scripts will be executed, either the first one or either the second one will be executed. If document exists, so then the first one. If document doesn't exist, then second one, and so on. Okay, so just keep in mind this kind uh, of uh, of concepts. Okay, so the thing that we need to cover is to how to update. So we have been updating the document. We can also simply replace a document. So, for example, if you take the 100 document that we have created earlier, so we know that is a coffee machine. Okay, but if I want to replace that document, so I don't need anymore that document. I need to replace it. So I simply to replace a document, I need exactly to use so let's name it machine. So I need simply to use the same attributes name. Okay, so I'll be using the same attributes name, so price here, and I'll be specifying this. I'll be specifying the in stock. So the idea is very simple. So Elasticsearch will erase the first attributes because simply we're using the same attributes here. Okay, so yeah, so first I do this. Yeah, we have a problem. Yeah, so that's the products. Yeah, so the thing that I forget, I need to do doc. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, doc instead of updates. So basically, by doing this, if I run, so we had the coffee machine, but now we will be having a simply machine. Okay, so Elasticsearch will erase. Okay, so Elasticsearch will simply erase elements. If you give the same attributes name, it will be erased by Elasticsearch. So yeah, basically the last things that we need to cover also is the delete. Okay, so if you want to delete a document, so you maybe have already predicted that by simply specifying the ID, so the document will be deleted. Okay, so if you want to check document, so now there is a false, but if you want to check the one that we haven't deleted yet, so we will be seeing the data of the document. Okay, so that's some kind of basic operation that you basically could run on Elasticsearch. Okay, so yeah, that's add MRV and so on. So basically, I have added some slides that we need to go through. So routing. So routing is an important concept in Elasticsearch. So what I mean by routing. So we have been creating documents. So I told you that Elasticsearch is composed of multiple nodes, as you can see here. So we have multiple nodes. We have, for example, node A here, and we have node B here. Okay. So the idea is when I create a node, so how Elasticsearch will be able to store that node, or a more prominent question is where Elasticsearch is going to store that document. So Elasticsearch is using a very simple formula. That's the formula. So in order to stock any kind of documents, he will be using that function. So routing here is simply the ID. Okay, so it's simply the ID of our documents. And this is the total primary shards. For example, let's say that we have ID 10. Okay, and if you execute, so the hash is the hash function is given the hash, the function is already predefined. So for each value v, we will be getting the same number. Okay, so it's simply a transformation of numbers. So let's say that we have the ID 10. Once we executed the hash, we got, for example, 100. Okay, and let's say, for example, that we have okay, let's say 101. Let's say that we have, for example, 5 shards. Okay, let's we have shards. So if I do simply a simple operation, if I do 100, 5, sorry for that. So if I do 100 and I do 5 here, so I'll be getting 1. So basically, Elasticsearch will be taking that document to the shard A. Okay, so basically this first shard. It depends. So here it's 1, and here it's B. Maybe it's 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so and that's it. Why it has to be a very clear formula? Because when we try to read that document, because we need to stock that document and we need to read it back. Okay, so when we try to read that document back, we need to make sure that Elasticsearch will be using the same formula to get that document. If I want to read it and update it, Elasticsearch has to know where the document has been stocked. Because don't forget, this is a fully distributed system. In a distributed system, we have no centralization. So we have no master node telling us where each document is stored. Otherwise, we will lose the concepts of real distributed systems here. So basically, if I want to read any documents, I will ask Elasticsearch by simply running running these functions, and by running this function, because I know the ID, I can get exactly the name of the shards. So this is what is routing in Elasticsearch, and it's exactly the same thing. By reading the data sets, we will be using routing here, and we'll be using another concepts, another layer of architecture that is called adaptive replicate selections, because you don't need to forget for each data, for each data sets. So we have a lot of replication. So these data sets could be replicated here, could be replicated here, and could be replicated here. So when you're trying to read a document, so which replicate you will be trying to get. So we'll be trying to get that replicate, or we'll be trying to get that replicate, or we'll be trying to get that replicate, and so on. So there is a concept or a layer of softwares in Elasticsearch that is called ARS, which is adaptive replicate selections. It has a lot of formula inside as well, and it will be able to determine which replicates will be returned. Okay, so you can search about this and you can read how it does it work actually. But I need to make sure that I tell you about this. So for the Elasticsearch writing database, I will let you guys do some search on it, and you tell me later on how does it work. Just search for how Elasticsearch does do the datasets writing. Okay, so uh, the versional Elasticsearch. So we at the beginning of these lectures, we have tried to add documents, and we have seen some fields that are called version. Okay, so basically these version, uh, can we use them? So the news about this is that in Elasticsearch, it doesn't keep any version. Okay, just keep the version number, but doesn't keep the document itself. So if you have updated or modified the document 3 times, you will be only seeing the last version, because the first version will be deleted, the second one as well, and so on and so on. But Elasticsearch will just keep the number of version of this document, just the number of version, but not keeping the document history itself. You can use, there is an option, so you can use the external versioning. So for example, if you want to create an application where the version of documents of datasets is very important, so you can use, you can specify an external version about that. So to specify this, you can use, for example, if you want to create a document, we can use put as well. So this is a document you have already just this is the ID of the document. So this is the ID of the document. So here, this is the version that we are specifying, and this is the version type. We are trying to tell him that's an external version. Okay. So by doing this, you are trying to force Elasticsearch to keep remembering the version, and it can handle them. Okay. So and in the future, if you want to get any specific version by specifying, for example, the number of version, you can get it. Okay. So yeah. So also one of the very important features of Elasticsearch is the how it can handle concurrency control. So what is concurrency control? So basically you have so let's say that you have an e-commerce website, okay? So this is the e-commerce website, and you have two users and trying to retrieve the same product, okay? So this is the same product. So the first user has already bought the product, and then if the stock is 6, it will be decreased to 5. And at the same time, so let's imagine that both operation has occurred at the same time. So at the same time, the next user or the second user will be trying to get the stock number, for example, and the stock number will be 6. Okay, so that's the problem in Elasticsearch. So how can Elasticsearch, and imagine if this user trying to buy the document, so this one will be getting 5, and this one will be getting 5, and then once the update has been ended here 5, and this one will be updated to 5, and then we will be having in stock 5, and that's going to be a problem because in reality it should be 4. Okay, so that's the problem. So how Elasticsearch can control this? So basically there is two concepts. Okay, so there are two concepts that Elasticsearch is using to handle this. So the first concept is by, sorry, is the first methods. So the first concept is by using the version. Okay, so we have already seen the version. So if we try to retrieve any documents, so we can see the version. So and the version, so once you update the document, the version will change. Okay, so the idea is very simple. So if you are getting the document and you see that there is a different version, or trying to update a document and you are seeing that is different version, you will block that. Okay, and you will ask for a document again, and we try to edit that document, and so on and so on. So the second, so it seems very easy at the beginning, but another method is using the sequential number. Okay, so using the sequential number here, that's the sequential number. So basically, at each operation, at each changes, the sequential number will be changed, and so on and so on. So what we can do as well is by using the sequential number. So I'm trying to get this document at the same time. I save the sequential number, and if I try to update the document and see that the sequential number that I have and the sequential number that has been saved is not the same, then there is a problem. So I can make for you a very simple example. So we have a buyer A, buyer B, and we have a sequential number, for example, let's say 5. So basically, this one will be retrieved, and this one will be retrieved, and he will be getting 5, he will be getting 5. So he is trying to buy, so A will buy the product first, then he will be trying to update the in stock. Let's imagine that in stock that is stock here is let's say, so let's say it's 10. So once he bought the product, he will be going back and trying to put this 9. Okay, so this operation has finished and the sequential number will be 6, but this user has been doing some delay. He will be trying to bind the document. So once the updates for bind the document reaches here, I have the version, I have the sequential number 5, but here I see the sequential number 6, what I have to do. So basically trying to update the data that they have here. So instead of having 10 stock, trying to delete that and put 9 because simply the sequential number has been modified. Okay, so this is a way of how you can specify the you can protect the Elasticsearch thing. So this is can be if I, for example, if I try to okay, so if I try to let's test let's test this. If I try to products and log, so try 100. We have already deleted the 100 coffee machine, if you remember. So basically, I'm adding the name. So let's say it's coffee machine as well. Okay. And add the price. Let's say it's 120 and add the in stock. Let's say 10. Okay. So yeah, let's delete that. So basically, I put my mouse here in order to execute that action. So I have created the products. Good news. So what I need to do now is this is the product. So what I need to do now is trying to make an update based on the versions. So product, okay, okay, products, updates, and I need to specify the 100. So here's the difference. So I need to do if primary term equal, and also I need to do this. I will be changing this. Okay, so if sequential number k equal x. So I don't know for the moment what is the values, but we will be seeing them. Yeah. So what we need to update? So we need to update simply the stock. There is one additional. Yeah. Yeah. 64 and so on. So I need to do, I need to execute, I need to delete this one. So I need to execute this action. So what I can see is the version. Okay, so is the sequential number. So this is the sequential number x. I will replace it here, and this is the primary term. Okay, place it here. So I will try. Yeah, there is a problem, sure. So basically, let me read that. What is the problem here? So we have stock. So the data, as far as I can see, it's correct. Okay, but if primary term, no, yeah, I think yeah. So basically, I forgot that. Yeah. So that's without us. Yeah. So basically, it has been successful updated because I have specified the same. But if I do it again, yeah, so I will be seeing error because simply if I go back here, so the sequential number has been changed. Okay, so here, for example, I need to specify the sequential number to 23, and I need to specify the primary term to 1 in order for this one to work. So basically, what I'm trying to say here, so execute this action. So execute this action, this script here, only if the sequential number is 23, okay, and if the primary term is 1. So if not, don't execute it, okay. That's why at the first time you get the result, at the second time you'll be getting an error, okay. So yeah, so that's the sequential time. There is no update here because that's why we are not executing. There is no changes, but if you try to change the quantity again and you try to execute the first one, it's going to work, but the second one is not going to work because why? Because now the version has sequential number has changed. Elasticsearch is pretty clever because Okay, so if I pick up, for example, we have sequential number 24. If I put it here, 24, if I execute the first time without doing any modification, it won't change the sequential number because this sequential number will be changed only if there is some kind of data that has been changed. Okay, so if I run it and run it and run it and run it, there is no changes. And as you can then see the result here, no, meaning that there is nothing to be successful. There is nothing uh, to be failed. Okay, so yeah, so this is basically one of the things that we can do in Elasticsearch. So now I will be deleting the products. Okay, so by executing these actions, basically I have deleted uh, all indexes or all documents that are under products. There are some kind of bulk actions that can be executed also in Elasticsearch. I have put that here. So what does bulk actions mean? Is when you have a lot of instructions. Okay, so when you have a lot of work for Elasticsearch, you can do that all works in single instruction. So you don't need to put that in different instructions. So we can do like we can end by this example. For example, let's do post here. Let's do bulk. So this is the verb that we are going to use. So bulk, meaning that we are trying to execute a lot of actions. Okay. So bulk actions are trying to create the index and so on and so on. So I have already prepared that, in order to gain some time. So we just pass it here. And if I execute this actions, so it should, yeah, so many, okay, so let's delete this first. And let's execute this action again. Yeah, so let's read, yeah, so there is error false. Yeah, it has worked already, sorry. Yeah, so I was misled by errors here, but it says false, okay. So basically, what I've tried to do here is try to add an index that is called products uh, with an add an element with the ID 200. That's the first element, okay, and added another element. So try to create another element with the ID 202, and basically that's the data for the second element. Okay, so I can search for all documents, or I can simply do the get. So I can simply, for example, do the get specs, and let's say I can say 200. Let's see what we will be getting. Okay, so that's the first product we have created, 201. That's the second product that we have created. So just keep in mind that in Elasticsearch, you can execute a lot of actions. Okay, so you don't have to, you can execute a lot of them. So you can execute an update, a delete, doc actions, create, an index, and so on and so on. Okay, so I can do, for example, if I want to display all, so we will be ended by these last examples. If I want, for example, to display all documents, so I can do, for example, I want to display both uh, uh, all documents under the index. I can use the query, so we will be seeing a lecture about query itself because it has a lot of features. So this is how we can do the search in Elasticsearch. So when I see search, it's a kind of complicated search. Okay, so it's not basic search. So yeah, so I guess if I execute this script, yeah, I will be getting both products. That's the first product and that's the second product. Okay, that's how I did that. So simply using the index, okay, using the verb search. So telling Elasticsearch we are trying to run search and adding a query because we are going to the query and just simply I have to match all. So meaning that bring me all document that matches the index. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this lecture. So yeah, we're trying to later do more for the second lecture. Basically, we will be trying to cover the query and also the machine learning side of Elasticsearch.